Hi, I'm Chris Walker with RIO Products, and today I'd like to describe the features of our Elite Warmwater Predator series of fly lines. Now, this is a line we've designed very specifically for carrying big flies, and particularly in warm conditions, both warm air and warm water temperatures. The first thing that makes it good in those situations is its taper. So this is the same taper we've got in our Elite Predator series, which is intended for cold water. So if you're familiar with those lines, you'll recognize this taper right away. It's a relatively short head at just over 30 feet, and it's relatively heavy, about 2 full sizes heavy, in fact, for a given line size. And that weight concentrated in such a short head gives you the advantage of being able to carry a really big fly, whether it's heavy or just bushy and wind resistant. In addition to carrying a big fly, that short head also allows you to shoot lots of line on relatively few false casts, and that's important in situations where you're blind fishing. Really, the result of that is you spend more time with your fly in the water rather than in the air on a false cast, and that always results in catching more fish. So that's what makes this taper really good in those situations, and we've also designed it to deliver a fly a little bit more delicately than some of the other heavily weighted lines out there. So rather than having all that weight concentrated at the tip of the fly line, we've got more of it concentrated sort of at the back of the head. And it still allows you to carry a big fly, but it turns it over with a little bit more delicacy and allows you to cast a little bit more precisely to make those really accurate shots. So in addition to the taper, the materials are important to how this fly line behaves. And to get the right performance in tropical conditions, we've included a tropical slick cast coating, which makes the slickest and most durable fly line on the market. And that's built on our direct core material, which is a low stretch monofilament core. Low stretch is important in these scenarios because it allows you to make a really hard positive strip strike, because a lot of the fish you're chasing in these scenarios will be large and they'll have bony mouths, and you need to really drive that hook point home to get a good solid hookup. So in addition to taper and materials, we've chosen to introduce several different densities of this line to cover the water column from top to bottom. First of those is a full floating configuration, and that's obviously going to be the right choice for surface flies or flies that you intend to run just subsurface. Next is the float hover intermediate configuration, or FHI for short. That has a clear intermediate section at the tip of about 10 feet, then a yellow hover section which sinks just a little bit slower. This is a great choice for getting your fly just a couple feet below the surface of the water, and it also has some added stealth because of that clear tip. And the last configuration is the deepest running, and this is the FS5S7. It's got a Type 7 sinking tip to get the fly really down deep, followed by a Type 5 sinking section behind that, and again a floating head and running line for the rest of the line. The floating part of this line is significant because in a lot of scenarios you're going to be using these in moving water. And if I'm in the middle of a river casting a fly to the bank, my fly might land in slow water and my line might land in fast. And it's really nice to have that floating line and the running line and head sections, because I can then pick it up and mend it very easily. That keeps my fly in the target zone a little bit longer and makes these lines easier to handle in moving water than one that has, say, an intermediate running line. Last but not least, each of these configurations comes in a range of sizes from 7 weight all the way up to 10 weight, and that lends them to a whole range of applications. So a couple that come to mind for me are smallmouth bass in the Midwest or largemouth bass down in Florida. 7 and 8 weights would be perfect in those scenarios. 9s and 10s you might take all the way down to the jungle and fish for peacock bass or golden Dorado. I'd also potentially use a 9 or a 10 weight for rooster fish in Baja. So there's really quite a range of applications here, and the only limit is that you have to have a fishery that's in tropical conditions and one that requires big flies and quick casts. So if you've got an application that checks both of those boxes and you're interested, you can check these lines out online or at your local RIO dealer. Thanks for watching.